Bang bang badang ding dang diggy diggy ding bang badang ding ding boy. Bang badang ding dang diggy diggy ding bang badang ding ding ah. Yes, black to black, 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 black to black. Look, there's no need to worry and no need to fret if you think we was finished, we ain't done yet. This is the platform where you can get informative topic with real intellect. Play talk good manners, raise the antennas. Andre and Karen, that's host the vibe. Facebook, Spotify and Instagram. You could also catch me on the YouTube live with positive content back to back. I'm inviting all people to black. Yes, no be power is black to black, and everybody invited. So share it and like it. But we all are united and black to black. Yes, no be power is black to black, and everybody invited. So share it and like it. Cause we all are united and black to black. Yes. This is your mortal immortal, inviting each and everyone to log on to all streaming platforms to black with your hosts Andre and Karen. So subscribe, share, like and comment, and come along. Let me enjoy the vibes. Diggy diggy, diggy diggy, black to black, black to black.
Yeah, man. Greetings, Black to Black.
Greetings.
Big up Trinidad Tobago.
So,
welcome to the live. Welcome to the live.
Well, last week, we had to do this for the people because last week,
yeah, the
fight all over. We're having to record the episode.
Yeah.
We take nothing to do, can you right? And now that well planned episode, I talked to Shaka 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Right? But I actually didn't tell him. But before we go into that, welcome to the guests in the studio. It's really an honor to have all the
thank you.
Who know men know that I really big enough with elders. I really big on that. Right? So it's a real honor to have fellow Richard devotees here, elders and young elder.
Sure.
Welcome to Black to Black.
So you know what we come to talk about? We ain't wasting no time because Shaka is a busy man. King Shaka is a busy man. I think everybody over the last 2 days has been annoyed for many reasons, right? So the title of the show tonight is the clear difference between how the governments deal with race, right?
Okay.
So we want to and race-related issues, right? So we want to, because we see, talk on
the New Zealand festival.
For the festival, and you ask for the national holiday.
We went and read the comments. Like the most important part for me, we went and read the comments.
Yeah, and people saying, how come why it is Orisha can celebrate with Shouta Baptist and why this and why that. And I said to myself, but how come nobody do ask that with Diwali and Eid? It's two different religious holidays, two different religious entities, two different holidays. We don't make no noise when them thing is concerned because what we want to do, we come in and eat, we kurma, we burfi, we persad, everything.
We dressing up and all.
And we come on, and we love the curry, you know that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, what is me sometimes though is how come, why does have to be, we just have to be nice and dandy and don't say this and don't say that because you want to upset this one and you want to upset that one, right? But when we look at the treatment over the last 2 days, not just of the nation, but of the individual that was brought to the country, right? Is a stark difference. Because when the former administration brought the king from Ghana, he didn't have all that bacchanal. He came, he did all the whatever he had to do. It was cool. Everybody know, we see him Emancipation morning, we walk with him, we talk to him, and he left. Right? And that is the supposed black government.
And that is royalty.
You understand?
National royalty.
That is royalty. You understand? The difference now is the whole country shut down. The man get the ORTT, right? The order, the highest order in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
And for me, I was kind of like, yo, how, you know what I mean? But you saw the difference now. And both of us have been having this discussion over the last 2 days in the shop too, you know, how come? But I know he said he keeping receipts.
Yeah, I don't want to, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't want to get into an ethnic debate with anybody from any other different ethnicity.
Yeah.
Because they're not benefiting we in no way.
Right.
That not bringing respect from the outside community to we tradition, that not bringing money for we to improve ourselves, not bringing enough. Why keeping receipts on them for? Is to show them. When we come to do we thing, what I told you, like, the matter of the receipts I bring right now, Baba. When the Emancipation Support Committee did put up the monument outside Treasury.
That was bacchanal.
I remember the nasty things. Baba, I could use bad words in front there. What is called bad words? Right? I remember the nasty things written on social media. Part of the things that I saw was privy to seeing some things from people right inside the building that it's in front of. Right? So I remember all of that. And we could still go back on the socials and find some of them, right?
Right.
I come to COVID time and the nation started asking, you know, plenty of we home, so we everything at the point in news we watching because we don't have nothing else to do. So they started talking about the Columbus statue, whatever. And I saw that the National Security Ministry sent police officers, heavily armed police officers, to protect the statue of a dead white man that's responsible for so much atrocities on this planet, right? And then we come to what we see for the last 2 days. Now, I have no problem with the government of the Republic of the country, and I want to say these things clearly before we get into it so that nobody can, when they cut out the little pieces, right, to say we're racist, because I tell them I have no problem being racist. Honestly, what pianist means is very good at
Profession.
Right. The what they did in terms of shutting down the country for the movement of the individual could have been done in a, I think it could have been done in a better way. To not inconvenience people lost business, people lost money. And there's some businesses that you're running in a place where they lost today, that person enjoying back.
Yeah. Alright.
You know? So we here today now, the reason why we had asked now, because I had mentioned to Karen that leading into emancipation, I want a few Orisha people to come now. So it just putting kind of nice now. Baba as an elder, in and around for a while, I would like to hear your take on us pushing for a holiday in recognition of something undoubtedly African, which is Ifa tradition, and what you see as obstacles for that in any way.
Hello. My name is Babopa. Right? On the question of the holiday, I think it is long overdue.
Sure.
That African people that practices African sacred science, understand me, be recognized in such a way. You understand me? Now, the problem we are faced with as a people is that, you see, our minds are colonialized. Right?
Still.
We have the pushback that we are getting within our community. You see, we are programmed for hundreds of years to serve other people's ancestors. And once you're serving other people's ancestors, you understand me, you will not be able to really pay attention to yourself. So we need to bring the kind of the kind of balance that we need in society, right? With the crime and the disadvantage we have in business, in land, in money, in schools, and we need, as a people, we need to go back and understand where we came from, right? And the journey from there to where we are now, right? Because as a young man, I went to school. I always had problem with the reading and the arithmetic and thing. But I always wanted to know about myself. You know, I was always hungry for that. And the only thing I could remember in school that I learned in the West Indian woman and the West Indian read, I think it was 5. There was a naughty boy was he away to Scotland, the people there to see. You understand me? Nothing was taught to me about myself. And as it is now, if you check the books from kindergarten coming up, there is nothing teaching us about ourselves. We learn about all other races, all other, you understand me, but nothing about ourselves. To fix, if we really and truly want to fix this, we have to go back and start from there, coming up the road. We have to start to tell our children how great their ancestors was. You understand me? Let them know once, because we have so much information. There is so much information, and right now there is so much. Well, with the advent of the YouTube and whatever, there's so much information there. Right? You have Dr. Ben Yusuf Buchanan, you have but so much. I can't at this point. You understand me? Pierre Lumumba, you have Dr. Arikara Chibabori Kwao, who is giving information right now. Right? We have Ibrahim Traore from Burkina Faso. If you listen to him, he is ruling that country now with ancestral knowledge. You understand me? Many people just looking at the top, but if you really listen to some of the programs and when he speaks, his ancestral knowledge he is using. You understand me? So I want to say, and I want to urge our people, I want to urge parents, all of us who are talking about the crime and the thing and the young children and whatever, we are the guide. We are the example for it. And if we would not look for that history to tell our children where they going to get it, we are the example, we are the light. They're looking at us. You understand me? And if we, all what we do, we following let us say, the colonizers'
education
programs. We follow the programs. You understand me? Then that is what we do it. Our children see we doing. That's what they're going to think, right? You hear a lot of parents come, no, that children they only have the phone and they only this. That. When you look at some of the same parents that come to about the children, see what they're looking at the phone. So if they would be looking at historical things and share it with the children would have. But you looking at these things so your mind is programmed, right? But you complaining about the children and want them to go otherwise. You understand me? So we have a duty to unlearn. Right? A lot of what we were taught, we need to unlearn in order to learn. Right? Because you have a vessel and it could only hold so much. The information they give us, this Eurocentric information, right? All the history and whatever, it is there. Our vessel is, you could say, is almost full, right? If we don't decide to unlearn, if we want to go forward, we have to unlearn. So we have to take out from this vessel, we use a vessel, right? So you take out, because you want to put in something else, you get in new
information.
Yeah. So you want to put, you get in gold. You have a vessel that have maybe some coin, silver coin. What are you going to do?
Yeah, take all
You
that.
want the gold.
Yeah.
So you have to
Take
take
all
out
that. Yeah.
silver and put in gold.
Yeah.
So it comes like we need to get our history so then we would be able to debunk what was taught to us.
Right.
And by extension, that is going down to our children. Right? There are no bad children. I just always say this, that there are no bad children, there's bad adults. Because of that, we are the mirror for our children. And according to what we do, they will understand me. But that whole system is a double standard system. When it suits them, they enforce it. But the same thing, if you do the same thing,
Problems.
definitely. So, and if that is what we are taught, you understand me? So we need to look at our history. We need to look at our ancestors. As Orisha people, our ancestors, they were not able to practice free. You understand me?
Yeah.
So when they were not able to practice free, forced upon them Judeo-Christian teaching, but they had so much care and wanting to retain the history. So what they did, they took it and they hide it within the same Christian teachings.
Yeah.
You understand me? So that they could preserve it for us today. But today,
You can't find it.
it is there.
Okay.
But today, because we are free, you understand me? We are free to practice. I am a funny devotee, and not discarding what was our ancestors did to, you understand me, to preserve the tradition for us now. You understand me? So now that we are free, we have to give them that praise for that, for preserving it, but take off the covering. Right? Those are good, I just call it good Christian principle, Eurocentric teaching. Right? So we have to remove that. Don't be disrespectful. Remove that and go back to the source. Because they fight hard, they died fighting to preserve that for us today. So today, we have to come to that understanding and go back and give them that praise. You understand me? And really do. That's the only thing we have. We have seen trouble all over the world. It is just because they taught us in a particular way. Everything black is bad, and everything white is good.
Right.
So we don't want, you understand me? See our people drove the bleaching itself and all kinds of things because of that brainwashing. You understand me? So we need to give our ancestors that information. And you know, some of our people hear them say, oh, ancestors, when they were there, they never teach. They never teach. You know, it might be saying they never teach, but I think if we call them, because from my experience, we call them, and say ancestors, we want to know
This.
You understand? They does present themselves. You understand me? To give you the knowledge. It might not be, you know, somebody might just come and share what you know.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
Right? So again, we need to pay homage to our ancestors. We need to pay homage to our ancestors. We need to pay homage to our mothers. We are taught to put the mothers, put women aside. You know, woman is to be. That is part of our problem. We need to let the women take their place. Because without the women, we are in a mess. You understand me? So we need to take care of our mothers. We need to take care of the women. Right? It ain't no bad woman. No, not one. You might be incompatible and all you can't mix. But you might be fighting the whole and then you go back, no, this woman. No. Understand me? We need to take care of the women. We as men, we need to take care of our women. We need to take care of ourselves too.
Yeah.
And the women, you know, they
Right,
need to take care. But in order to bring balance back into the scheme of things, we need the women. We need the women. Women bring forward the children, they grow the children, they cook the food, they clean the house, they take care of us. You understand me? But we were taught to ostracize them, to push them aside. Woman is not to be. Women, you look around.
Seen and not heard.
Yeah, you look around the world and see the kind of progress it has get when a woman is in control. You know. So we need that mother is important. So without the mothers, we're in trouble.
In the grand scheme of things, when you made the call, was about a month ago?
Yeah,
When you made that call,
that was the 7th of June.
you saw some of the responses that people was making online. What I drive it in terms of your thinking?
Well, I mean, anything African people ask for, you will face pushback. Anything to uplift you, to take you out of the system, to empower you, you would get pushback.
No doubt about it.
So if asking for a holiday in recognition of your spirituality, asking for a holiday to promote your ancestors, you would face pushback. You understand? And I wasn't shocked at all, because remember, we are now coming out of a period and into a new period here. Meaning that we have holidays and celebrations that uplift other people's ancestors spiritually.
Yeah.
And nothing is wrong with that. What people do based on their ancestry is good. Because when we say one must not forget their ancestors, other groups of people understand that. So they will venerate their ancestors. They will ensure that they upkeep the practices of their ancestors, because that is what would keep them, and that is what would insulate them. Even for us, when we look at crime in our country, and we look at communities that we deem as depressed, if the knowledge of self is injected in these places and spaces, you will see a vast difference. If we as a collective in Trinidad and Tobago, among the African diaspora, could come together for one day to celebrate our deities, to celebrate our ancestors, you will see a change in how we carry ourselves. But we promote everybody else's agenda, and we don't see ourselves as even worthy of being granted a day to celebrate our own. You understand? What is wrong with African spirituality in this land of Trinidad and Tobago? Check and do research. Nowhere in the Caribbean has an African spiritual holiday. No Orisha holiday, no Ifa holiday. Based on the African worldview of spirituality. Nowhere in the Caribbean has that. You understand? And that is a clear indication of of colonization. Because the colonizers enforced that their spirituality be given days so that their agenda would live on. But if we don't have that, are we in small spaces, in small pockets, celebrating our ancestors? I mean, yes, those who know. But if we want to change the paradigm of how our people are in this country, we have to give them spirituality. The more they run us from our own thing, we will just be having these conversations in the next decade, the next half a century, and the next century to come. Every creed and race finds an equal place. That is not just talking. That in itself is what he's saying, is the way it is supposed to be. We are a multi-plural society. And what that means, it doesn't mean that because there are other holidays that give reverence to the other people's belief system, means that you should not have one. We should have one too.
Of course.
We should have one too. Look, I was saying, in Baba Opa lifetime, in his school years, in my school years, in my daughter's school time right now, if at Baba Opa time, in our social studies project, he did not learn about African spirituality because there had no holiday to validate what our ancestors practice. In the social studies project, it have what other people practice. That in itself, tell me what would that do to a child? You will feel ashamed of what you do. You will feel unworthy.
Of course.
You will feel unworthy, like my thing is not
good enough.
Worthy to be acknowledged. We learn about carnival. I mean, yes, carnival is right. We learn about Diwali, Eid,
Christmas,
Ose, everything else. But where is Orisha? Where is the place of Orisha? If you really look even further, all the cartoons that they make and promote, they take aspects of our deities and they form it into animated characters and they give it back to us and we feel as if it's their thing when it's really our thing. So why must we not have a holiday to promote Ogun, to promote Ifa, to promote Eshu, Oshun, Oshasi, our deities, to give our people that pride. We could have how much Homeland Security, how much Ministry of Defense, how much Ministry of the People that just putting a plaster on a sore without addressing the sore. The sore is we have to acknowledge our spiritual practices.
To add to that, over the years, the amount of billions that I see this government, the Trinidad Tobago, has spent behind crime. Right? They go from bad to worse, and it's still getting worse. You understand? It's getting worse. So we need to our people. Let me say this to our people. The problems that we are faced with is the pushback that we get. Right? Anything we decide to do for ourselves, the biggest pushback we'll get is among our people. And another race of people have a problem. The biggest support they will get is from our people towards them. You understand? Because there was a group, they're looking at our radio station. Who are the people fight with them? We fight with them tooth and nail, they got it. You understand?
Yes.
All of that situation that they have, we fight with them. And when we have something, the same people, they come in and they're fighting against us. They're the first ones to fight against us. What are the people when we ask for the holiday? What are the people that start to make the holiday?
Some of our own as well.
You understand me? So again, we need to start at home. We need to make those adjustments. Our minds are colonialized. Our minds are programmed to make sure everybody else is alright. And we are not. Yeah, that's that.
Baba, I want to touch on something you said earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we recognize today in having these discussions regularly, and what they would have been confident as well, is acceptance. You see this notion that our minds have been colonized and has never been set free. A lot of us, especially those well educated by the same colony system, can't accept that. So the fact that they can't accept that they still see the world through the eyes of the colonizers. This here is a unworthy conversation. Like it don't make sense now, right? But something that was just said, plenty of things in total, they don't say there. We be saying inside the every weekend because the conversations in here be heavy. Billions of dollars spent in national security. Right? None of these measures include Ifa Orisha, we are alive. But some of them measures include Christian prayers, Islamic prayers, Hindu prayers.
Because they are acknowledged, they are seen as a group, they are given that validation because they have recognition. And which is good. But if we don't see ourselves as worthy to mobilize, to organize, to strategize, the words of
Kwame
Ture, aka Stokely Carmichael, these things will just continue. We have to strategize, we have to organize, we have to mobilize, and I would also say to unite. Once we could have that common agenda, we could get where we have to get. Nothing came easy for other groups. Some of them had it easy, but it had a struggle. It had a struggle. But if we look to see ourselves as not worthy, we will not get where we have to get. We have to see ourselves first as being worthy. And another thing I was saying too about, you were saying that, about this confiscation might be too heavy. Yes, we understand the psychological effect, the Stockholm syndrome, that many people walking about having.
They're in love, they're absolutely in love with the very system that have a knife choking them. And when they find, if you look around to see you, they'll cut off your head. They don't even want you to see what they're doing, who doing it to you.
And we also have to acknowledge too, that there's a cross-section. And this is also Ifa saying, they are the doers, they are the bystanders, and they are the onlookers. These make up our society.
Facts.
So the ones who hear and they win, we would be in the few. But all we must do is keep on pushing, mobilize, and use our spirituality as our benefit. It will happen and all. But we have to be persistent. It can't be 1 or 2 days. We have to go at it, we have to be on the road, and we have to make moves, and we have to go to the relevant people and strategize.
If I was to say something, I want to read out some comments here.
Alright, I want to call out on this term is a term that I would say that came from, well, I had a sister, right? Dr. Arikana, keep on recall. The biggest problem among the African community is those of us who have been, call them the have been. I have been to Harvard. I have been to Yale. I have been. Those who have been is the one that will give us the majority of problem. Because they are the ones that are post in a lot of.
I have been to Ghana.
The bourgeoisie,
So these are the people, at the time those at the lower level is not as so much opposition to as those who have been. Because a lot of them they went to school. You look at the system. Look at our people. Those who been to school and they call it a good school and they get their passes and everything. They give them a job. Give them a nice car, give them a house, and they put them in a gated community. Away from, you understand, when they have the. So you not to mix here. They would come from ours, but then they put them. You understand me? And some of the biggest fight we get from that.
From them.
From that.
Them have bins.
Yeah, they don't want to mix, you know, really is, you know.
So, before I go into them comments on them, part of these conversations is difficult. You know Shaka being freed, right? Well, they mentioned that line in the national anthem. Karen can tell you why they say, well, that's to the point where my daughter, 9 years old, repeated it. Our national anthem is a lie. Here, every creed and race finds that equal place is a lie. As long as it stay like this, as long as we have to clamor and fight and write letters as the longest people, well, out of all the people brought here, we're the longest set of people here. Yeah, other people come and get a whole street way and sign and think for us. I am very superstitious. However, people interpret that as okay, I've never walked through those pillars on Charlotte Street. So I walk on the side of it. Because we know, as people practicing a spiritual system, them important things just without doing the rituals. And I don't know what rituals you do to pull up that, right? But I say every day thousands are only walking through that tunnel and I have no problem with it, only driving through it. But you come by me and say African Mass and you're like, what is that one? Or you see it on a jersey, the African Mass, and you want to know where is that? I say, but how come you're asking nothing about this day? These people and them just come. I am not denying their contribution. But I'm saying nobody's contribution is greater than the African contribution in Trinidad and Tobago. So while I'm not writing off what any other ethnicity do after they came here, I cannot acknowledge that loudly as a citizen of the Republic when my people's contribution is not acknowledged in any way. And this pushback, we can't even get a street name after Kwame Ture. The government of the country rejecting naming a street after an internationally recognized son of the soil.
Yeah.
Policy.
So they wanted to change Oxford
Street
to Kwame.
People just leave, Pan-Africanist people just leave different parts of the world to come and see where Kwame Ture was born. And they don't, the naming of a street, you know, but I tell them, I say, oh, I just see things a little different. I see things a little weirdly, thanks to my father. All the name, it have communities in Trinidad and Tobago, new communities, not to say it's a community with our old street name, you know, the name of the street Plantation Drive. You could put me to live on somewhere named Plantation Drive. I never forget, I have a picture that on my Facebook page when Orville London was the head of the Tobago House of Assembly, and the headline was Orville moves into Plantation Villas. Me like, as a African man, you could put me, I could go to live somewhere named Plantation knowing what that represents for our people.
No, you see, this is where, like minds, like us, we identify the issues. See, like that, we must be unified in what we want. Like how the AFC made calls for that to happen. People have to join them. It's not right that we have to clamor for things that
to represent us
it's
in this
our
place,
right to know.
Yeah.
But strength is in unity and in numbers. We have to petition. We have to go. We have to stand up. We have to make moves so that our children would not come to meet this kind of thing.
Same problem.
Honestly, if a person is of African ethnicity, Indian ethnicity, and they go in certain places and they see the names of their ancestors, they will feel empowered. But look at further Spain. It's like the wild, wild west. Certain places, not a name to validate your ancestors. So that energy
Perpetuating.
so that energy of those who butchered our people is
Continues.
roving around.
In town they ride it.
They're roving
All
around
them street and
all
them
them street
Yeah. But then again,
where our ancestors toil, they cut road, they pave road, they build walls, they build all them bridges up. Upon
cathedral,
Ellie, all of these places what our ancestors built, but nothing is named after our ancestors.
No
It
name
is
to call.
named.
Yeah.
It is named after
The
the
people who
colonizers.
Yeah, who
So we have to stand with the ASC. We have to stand with the Orisha community to get
What
holiday.
Baba name?
Olakila.
No, yes, well, Baba Olaki, we know he push for the Shango Day, but as they're talking, they say, right in Lavantele, Baba Uwa,
Yoruba village.
Yoruba village, they have a whole map planned out how to name it, and I wonder if they even get a hearing.
Who was that?
Baba Uba,
Oba Kiteme.
Uba Kiteme,
Well,
they have a whole, they had it on display in the Emancipation Village last year, to name, not just, nothing vague, I'm talking about something, a proper document. Name over one part go be Ife, one part go be Oyo,
No, but
Right,
that's what we have to do.
right?
If
And
we
then
wanna
when you
change-
go in and know where the names of these streets, it there, but
if we want to change the energy of this
we
place,
have to do that.
we have to give it its
Yeah.
rightful name, its rightful energy, because we know names.
We know.
It's
Names
powers.
carry an energy.
Yeah.
You cannot call a dog a cat
Yeah.
because a dog have the energy and the ashe to be what it is, a dog.
Yeah.
So if we look into call things names that
They are not.
doesn't fit its description and its energy, what would happen?
Yeah.
Chaos would just continue to reign.
Reign, yeah.
You understand?
when it suits us, we tend to say words have life.
Only when we convenient.
Okay?
Like
If
that
we
way.
have life, we're calling Frederick Street. Good life.
We shall.
The Queen's Park Savannah. Yeah, all these, these names and we have to get rid of these things. It is part of our history, yes.
That is in the books.
Yes, you understand me? But we have to bring these things, and we have saying things about even in our community, saying things that are about one another. When you say negative things about, let us say, a brother like myself, are saying it to me, because if I'm saying it to a person of another ethnic something, well, here's that, this or that, you understand me? Alright, but when I say negative thing to you, and you looking just like me, where we going? You understand me? So I keep it down myself in a way by trying to keep you down. So we need to understand what's that like and what we say about one another. Some people will say, "But them, that black nigga and them killing one another. Nigga, people will never see the way." When you say this kind of thing, we're using words that the colonizers give to you, what they call you, these negative words, and you're using that. Some of us saying, eyes up. You understand me? And we making a whole big thing about it. Yeah. But then again, it is a negative. So when you keep calling negative and you're looking from positive from negative, what is going to happen? You understand me? So there's a lot of teaching. I think we need to offer teaching, the people, and let them know situation like this. I think we need to have more like this. We really sit down and,
Reason.
yeah, so that people they could really hear and add data and we look for we get the kind of difference that we're looking for. Because we have to change it. Once we continue as we go in there, the government will spend money. We go be burying our children. The lands that we had, that's gone already, and what we have is going to go. As a little fella growing up in Arima, a whole lot of businesses that was owned by African people. You understand me? We no longer have anything. What is happening? You understand me? What is happening? So we have to look at all these things. I could share those knowledge because I don't know, I used to kind of pay attention to that kind of thing as a little like that's the thing that I always used to, you know. So I like, you know, that kind of avenue where I could share. There's a whole lot of information that I have bits and pieces here that I would like, you know, to be able to share. And I think that other people too. And I want to say this is a blessing. This Facebook, this type of technology, whereby we could say what we want to say and not because of the radio before.
Yeah, censorship.
The time we started here, they done cut me off.
Long time.
Right?
Long time.
So here we have an opportunity that we could share. So
Well, we give all of this, you know, we always tell Shaka, this is our London. You understand? Or they come in and do the thing because these are the conversations I want.
Alright.
You understand? I don't have privy to this because I grew up outside of that system.
Alright.
You know what I mean? But my father was Orisha.
Alright.
He never teach me nothing about it until when he was almost dead.
Yeah.
Right? And then at that point, I was like, well, why you going to tell me this now? You know, 'cause I have so much questions to ask. But I can't ask you because you go on. So now I have to start to look to you. Baba here, my boy here, because he is the bridge, you know, he's the man who light the fire and say, yo, this is what you have to do, organize yourself and start to take your time and come and go and that kind of thing. I went down by Baba in Woodbrook.
Yeah.
You know, I carry my Sunday. I see his response to it. Because when he come, he was kind of frightened. But then as time progressed into the day, you see he get comfortable and then he start doing the rituals and things for himself. And now he just asks, how come? And that's an answer.
Yeah.
You understand?
I want to.
You need to learn about your father because he's dead. We just come out of the function there and our show is pointing out to people, your father was, your mother was, this is what you support. Information, you could connect with your father. Don't dismiss him as well, look, you think on your own. No, he's there.
Right.
So you call him and talk with him. Well, we would meet and you know, we could share with you how you could simple little ritual you could learn and call him, talk to him. You have problems and then they're calling me to tell me about the other guy's shoe what I had nobody. Call him and say, Daddy, you know, these are shoe.
Yeah.
And
he go organize.
yeah. Real like the sun shining.
I believe that.
You understand me? So you have issues, call him.
Alright.
Give him praise.
Alright.
Give him praise for being here. Say thanks.
Because
Give him a little offering, food, water, and then petition and ask him for what you will see. We have it. This here for us.
Because look at all successful groups of people. They go in their businesses, they have their
Big picture.
ancestor.
We even going on, we even going to the deities here.
They have their ancestor. And then nothing is wrong. They're correct.
Very correct.
They're correct for doing that. Because they are preserving their heritage. We ever say, oh, when you're dead, you're done. You understand? But they know that is a foolish statement. Because they holding on to the energy of the father and the mother that is there to fuel them. They'll put their little offering, they'll pour libation, they will talk to them. You understand? You could imagine why certain religions so powerful in the world. Because they get other people to venerate their ancestors. But who venerating ours? We have to venerate ours.
When we say that that when you're dead, it's done. Right? When we wake up, we are told cut your life. You get that. You get instruction from whoever is Islamist. I respect them, but you get instruction from them.
Yeah.
Oh, now with other people's ancestors. Right? And you hold by that. And you wouldn't take time to understand what is your ancestral instruction. The ancestors with their instruction.
Sure.
You get it, you got have the information there for everything. Anything. Ants, fly, cockroach, everything. The information is there. Examples as to how we should live. Just as how that book, the Bible, have examples of how we should live. Our tradition have examples of how we should live. But it was taken away from us, and so that's what we know. We holding on to that.
And that's what I wanted to touch on before we talk that. I forced to acknowledge myself that the programming we get via Christianity and Islam is so deep in our people, and the programming come with fear, hell, or a bad life, or you're paying for your deeds, and all them kind of things.
He who add or take away will be beaten with many stripes.
Right?
And after the betrayal, the plantation, we
It's-
trade licks.
It come with so much fear mongering.
Yeah.
Right? On top of that, we don't like to be different. How much people do you know outside of the tradition comfortable dressing like that? Right? It comes with so much fear mongering, so much plenty we don't want to be different. Right? We want to follow everything that everybody else doing. So when I was going to church with my parents, I was asking questions because I was always telling the mistake what they make with me is telling me to read.
Yeah.
If only was talking to me and I ain't going to read, but the mistake what they make is to tell me to read, and I'm reading this thing. And the first 3 pages of that book, it's not making no sense at all based on the story now.
Yeah.
And I started questioning, but then when I find out who my father is, my biological father, which Papa know, then when something
Like
started
your
make sense.
fire we talk, yeah.
Right? But part of the thing I try to acknowledge regularly is the program via fear, via the norm, real dread. Because, Shaka, how much people do you went to school with? You could say the National Ocean Festival coming up 25 years. We have a weekend celebration coming through a day. Matter of fact, even better yet, we have a family day.
Yeah.
So you can't talk about this in night time and I know we have a family day, a whole day celebration, music, real vibes. They might see some legends come and perform. How much are they making get to come? Because they know it associated with something African.
Because what did our Kwame Ture say? In fact, it wasn't him, it was another said. To keep you away from yourself, you have to make that group of people feel the worst about themselves.
Yeah.
So all that fear mongering is a tactic to keep us frightened, to create mistrust amongst our own kind, to keep us in a state of anomie, unmindful of our past, ignorant of our future, and very much saddened at the thought of our future, honestly. And that is the effect that they have inculcated in the minds of the African man, even in the books, even in the storybooks, even in the movies. How they depict us, they depict our practices as some corner house necromancy. You understand? Anything you do, but they do the same things, similar,
Very similar.
but it is widely accepted.
See the Jews are cutting out chicken and spraying blood. And,
So that tells us the disparity and the inequality that persists till this day. So even if we go back and we talk about how the governments deal with issues pertaining to our way of life, it tells us that we need to bridge the gap with those in office to show them that we are different and we are worthy to get what we need to get. I am not against people bringing their leaders here. I'm not against
No,
that.
definitely not.
Because again, I am one of those who stand on that principle. Every creature is finds an equal place, and you must love where you come from. So if you win that, I will shake your hand because you're doing what is correct. But it must be equal. We must get a fair share when that time comes around. And when courtesy of holidays are being exercised in this country, we, those who practice Ifa Orisha doctrine, and let me clear up this thing one time as we have before. Ifa is not separate from Orisha. What Ifa is, it is the foundation of knowledge that tells us about all the other Orisha. Just as how the Christians have the Bible and will tell them about Moses, Paul, Jacob, Job. Ifa will tell us about Ogun, Orunmila, Eshu, the mothers, ancestors come down. The genesis of our deities. So that is the clarification that I pray reaches out there. Is the foundation of what we do. So the others have the Quran. The Quran is the foundation of their practice. The Bhagavad Gita is the foundation of the Hindu practice. So Ifa is the foundation of the Orisha practice. So when we have the ignorance walking around to create distortions about Ifa, now come and it is not as a new thing. No. Ifa is just the wisdom of the divine that speaks about the creation of what we do. You understand? And that in itself would give us, that form of understanding. You understand? All other groups have it. They swear on their books even when they are swearing in the parliament. So it shows us that we still have a little way to go, but we will get there. We will get there.
Yeah, but that was my next question. Because since we start talking about this, one of the concerns I have had as somebody standing on the outside looking in is the division within the Orisha self in that community now. You understand? When I say, go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Go ahead.
Because again, remember we're coming out of something. We're still coming out of colonization.
Right.
We were fed the Bible.
Right.
We were fed other groups of people's book of wisdom. But now we are reclaiming our books of wisdom, our fountain of wisdom, which is Ifa. So because other people were privy to those other books of wisdom, and they now coming to understand what our foundation of wisdom is why they would make that distinction that Ifa is separate from Orisha. If you want to know about any Orisha, any of their traits, any of their activities, it is in Ifa. If you want to know about Obatala, he's in Ejiobe. You want to know about Chpongo, he's in Oyekum, Eji. You want to talk about Ogun, he's in Ogundam, Eji. You want to talk about Oshun, Osheot, Ura. You want to talk about the mothers or Sam Heji. You want to talk about ancestors or Turapom Heji. You want to talk about all the deities within Orisha. That is our text of knowledge. And right now, everything is out there. So we have
no excuse.
The information out there.
No excuse.
I and Baba Opa was having this conversation. I am saying it here. I'm not endorsing, but I'm just saying, I would endorse, in fact, I am endorsing the 40s to try and get their hand on the higher Salami Book of Udu and also the Ipega Book of Udu.
Alright.
I'm not hiding knowledge from our people.
Sure.
We have been hiding for too long.
Yeah.
Buy these books, get your hand on these books. If you don't understand something, you all know people who understand.
Yeah.
You understand?
Ask a
Reach out,
question, yeah.
reach out, read. The more we read is the more conscious we will become.
Yeah. Where we getting the books?
It's so some of them,
Amazon.
Baba Avery.
Right.
Yeah.
Avery Amon sells books.
Right.
Reach out to
African
Avery. There's another lady, African World Books. Reach out to her. You understand?
Okay.
Also on Amazon too, selling these books.
Just get it.
You understand? Again, I'll repeat it. I just given 2 books. The one by Ayos Salam is the blue book, and the next
Is
one
it
by
right?
this is Complete Divination. Complete Divination.
Right.
By Ayo, A-Y-O, Salami, S-A-L-A-M-I.
Right.
And next one by Ipega.
Okay.
You understand? You're getting information there.
They say something there. So, might as well tell you, we were talking the other day before I tell you, I consider myself, I know if my baby in Orisha devotion, I still aspire.
Oh God, you
Right?
you like to
So, being a child of alimony, well, it is nice that you're pushing yourself, but with the knowledge you get from alimony that you are, as you get into the thing, you will realize how much you have. But where you are now, you know, you ain't giving yourself no glory, but you know a lot, because coming out of the alimony, you can't pass by alimony and really justify that, you know.
Yeah.
Some people like to push this, you know, give themselves.
Yeah.
But you know a lot, you know a lot.
One of the things when I started going to a party and everything is like, I do understand and I'm not afraid to say, the distrust we have around among one another within the Orisha community.
That's what I was talking about.
Right? The don't go by this one and don't go by
That
that
is
one.
what I'm
Like,
talking about.
why are you telling me that?
Yeah.
Like, if there's 2 different shrine masters here, 2 different shrines here, and now they're having a festival. Oh, one telling me don't go by this one, and one telling me don't go by that one. It's not making moves forward. That's why I don't like that word unity when we have in conversation. Now the word unity seems to scare us. Seriously, actually, how much years I say that now. But why we hearing this, I do encourage, I don't entertain it. Don't come around me that.
Yeah.
Because I personally believe that Ori, in most instances, once I'm hardened, would tell me, well, if I get vibes, don't worry. What I just have to try and fight is whether it's a lazy vibe.
Alright.
You know, if I have a thing to do Sunday, but Sunday I rock all day, I relax, and I'm supposed to go around there for 5 o'clock, but I'm tired. So I started trying to differentiate whether that is a lazy vibe, or if I get in a vibe. But why is all this, don't deal with that one, don't go by this one, don't go by that one? Because I see one of the, why will I call him my elder, because he's older than me, we create a new page where his idea is for us to say when we having things so that feasts and festivals don't clash, and I find that's a very good idea.
It's a great idea.
You understand? Because
So that
I
everybody
love,
could go to everything,
I love how all the shiners up, there's no, when them win festival, there's a maxi coming.
Yeah.
A maxi coming. The whole, we come in to support. And I feel, I don't like the shushu. I don't like the shushu where we afraid it happening, but we afraid to talk about it. We like, no, I want to talk it open. I'm not trying to hide. It's like, yo, if we want national holiday, who leading the call for it? Are we going to come together as we know saying Kwame Ture, so tell us 60-something years ago? Are we forming a committee where Shaka is the head of the committee? So all the ideas we bring it and we bring it to Shaka from different shrines, from different, we don't need just Orisha organizations. We have 1 or 2 other organizations that
support us.
Right, and then come and say, right, so we take it and Shaka take it to them, and Shaka is going to deliver, the email, whatever. Like, that will work better for we. as opposed to you come by yourself and then you come by yourself.
Let me say something. That you don't go by me and don't go by she. That is part of what I spoke about earlier on.
Yes.
Understand me? It is part of the brainwashing. Our minds are captured. And if I come by you and you come by me, that is the coming together, and that would make us strong. So if you think and I teach me to push you and push the other one and we keep like that, you understand me? Then the situation that we are in here now is because of that. Over the years, I have been working with Iceration Mother Valley from Timberland, Amoy, right? And we have been working, made approach to the government to get lands and whatever, and you know, it had always had this kind of, you understand me? It had this kind of, pulling, and it still have it.
Yeah, because if all they get, they go say it's not we get.
Yeah. So, and we was working, she died on working to get the community
Together,
ready was to go to the parliament, because the government was saying, we waiting on, when you all come together, we waited, you understand? The IUCT as it is now, the speaker now, as it is now, a movement was made forward from the IUCT and based on IFA guidance to come at the point that you raised with don't go here and don't go there. IFA in that reading tell us we must, we go by people and we don't
segregate.
Yeah, we don't get into that. Right? Because I remember a couple of years ago, the Araba from about 20 years ago, and he came and he told us, go and visit other people. Your brother invite you, whether he's Hindu or Muslim or Christian, you go. Or the easy for, but we know, but we go and support. That's how we went to get that togetherness to come together. So again, because our minds, we are taught that way to keep the other people in power and it dominating us. Once they get us and go by that one and you look at my hand, here no and here no. Once we get into that, then they will be comfortable within their space and we would always be in turmoil. So we had to understand, well, this is my brother. You understand me? We might not be exactly what he's doing, but then the same. There's one way to the fountain. Some of us might come up the highway, some take the back road, some might come through the, but it's there we go in. And when it suits us, we acknowledge that. You say all of we want Father Church, but then you want to fight with your brother, fight with your sister across there. And all that comes because we don't have the knowledge that we are programmed in that way to keep us at a particular level. Another thing among our community, complain about what?
Everything.
We complain. Solution.
Yes.
Where's the solution? You hardly hear solution. Just complain. Another thing, emotion. They teach us to be emotional. We are very emotional people. Come and tell you, hey, Shaka says, you start to, one time, you start to breathe short. You listen to what has been said, breathing short. Breathing gets slower, then you bust out. Shaka is a nasty man, Shaka. You have things to analyze and say, this will tell you Shaka said that. You understand? Well, why did he say that? What was the reason? Let me reason, let me think, and let me find out. One time, start up. we too emotional.
Yeah.
You understand me? I just say, if you're lying down, you're going in a conversation, you're lying down, you're thinking about to go there, to deal with an issue, you're lying down when you're emotional. You're standing up, put it under your foot.
Mm-hmm.
If you're sitting down, sit down on it.
Mm.
And let me deal with the issue out here logically.
Yeah, deal with it.
You understand it?
Yeah.
Because people be too emotional. Like there people think somebody come and tell you and they say, before they done talk, you start like a parrot and you're where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? So all these things we need, as a people, we need to look at. Problems, this is the problem, what is the solution?
Yeah.
So we try and look for a solution. You don't have it.
And like we talk like facing our issues, formulating solutions.
Yeah.
And this is a big part of the
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
You know, I learn more here
Yeah.
than anywhere else.
Alright.
When we bring in elders like Wally, we bring in men like Wally who know the information, who come and sit down and talk to you.
Yeah.
You hear what you say? Tell me when you come, you say, boy, we can't stick, 20 minutes.
Can it that?
11 minutes past 8.
Yeah,
Or 1 10 minutes go, eh?
The blockbuster.
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that.
So, we have, I will talk about two things quickly for you. The IFA organization that is the president of, and the National Ocean Festival that is celebrating 25 years. And one of the things I can't believe is like, this thing celebrating 25 years, right? I only hear about this thing since about 2018. Like what?
Yeah,
So that even 10 years I hear about it, right?
Yeah.
And I supposedly interested in African related things 15 years before that.
Yeah.
So can we imagine how much people not hearing about it? So tell me a little bit about the organization, the name of the organization, and then the festival.
Alright, so the IOCTT, the IFA Orisha Council of Trinidad and Tobago, it's a non-profit organization. It's the umbrella body, it's a sovereign local body that would represent IFA Orisha adherents, practitioners, devotees.
Right.
We are sovereign, meaning that we are not an umbrella. In fact, we are not a branch or an arm
Of anything.
of any other body, because we believe in our uniqueness spiritually as a people,
Right.
based on our experience in this land of Trinidad and Tobago, and also to based on our ancestry. So that is what we are. We are, as I had said, IFA being the foundation of all other Orisha. We are here to give clarity and to bridge the gap between what we think is lacking amongst our community. So we have spoken about mistrust. We are here, to bridge that gap. We are here, to teach. We are here to impart. We are here to raise the standard of representation for our people in a meaningful way. Because which part I come from, I see plenty of people who look like us without a sense of direction. And we all know you get your direction from your spirituality.
Facts.
You can read how much books, you must have that spiritual anchor to carry you forward. So the IOCTT is geared towards promotion of our way of life, our IFA Orisha way of life. You understand? You could be a child of Abat Allah, you have a place in the IOCTT. You could be a child of Oran Allah, you have a place in the IOCTT.
So it's something that the devotee could come and register for, sign up
You
for.
could come. Well, the thing with the IOCTT, it is, you could come, you could be a part of it, but if you belong to a shrine, the shrines that are registered.
Okay.
Because we represent a collective.
Collective, yeah.
So if your shrine is in South, you could register a shrine and you could be a part of it, because our aim is to ensure that we could represent our people on a national level.
Alright, okay.
So that call for the holiday, I will say it here, we don't have anything to hide. On that day, I did not go expecting to say that. That was the furthest thing from my mind. What was on my mind on that day was to execute the festival with the assistance of the elders and the chief OTs to start. But again, we know how spirit do things. It takes something for something to happen. The reporter came, asked me what I want. Without even hesitating, that was the first thing that came to my mind. We want a holiday. You understand? We face some pushback, which is normal, but at the same time,
I don't mean to give up.
spiritual people, we deal with things spiritual. So I will say it here, I went to Ifa and asked, I said, Ifa, should we give up this fight? Ifa said no. There's irradiative.
For sure.
There is blessings. Keep on going. So I mean, mankind could say whatever they want. Once our energies, once our ancestors sanction something, it is very much, I will tell people, do not put yourself in the way of ancestors and Orisha business. Don't do that. Don't impute improper motives when it comes to spiritual activities. Don't do that. Because we are all physical and spiritual beings. You could put yourself in place. Honestly, don't put yourself in the way of our progress. Honestly. Honestly, we can say what we want. Once something is to happen in the world, and you have been an impediment, and
You go over.
roll over it, or you would be called back in the stands. You understand? So, based on that, the IOC, it is geared towards representation of our people, educating our people, and furthering the practice of Ifa. You understand? Now, to look on the Oshun Festival, Babopa was there from the start. I met them part of it anyway. But what I would say, if I had it over back to him, the Oshun Festival is a festival nobody should try and miss. Even if you belong to other walks of life too. All of us drink and access the river. No one should make themselves an enemy of water. Water is life. Water is our source. Water is our sustenance. So the Oshun Festival itself is geared to giving respect to that divine energy of water. We all use water to function. If you don't have water here in this studio, you can't function. You understand? So hence why we are, what we will say, naturists, naturalists. We don't defecate on the riverbank or even in the river. We don't pollute our water sources. We don't do these things. You understand? Because this is our source of life. Everything drinks from the fountain of water. You understand? So I hand it over. He was the man there at the start when it all began.
Right. I've been beginning. But we have been there. The Ocean Festival really started around. My wife here, Agbamola, right? Started out as a birthday to keep how should do it, and you know what we started out. And that we had it for a couple of years as we should do it, and then we moved into we used to do dance festival, right? And from that we moved into the National Ocean Festival, right? And coming up here we have been, it was kind of low-key, you know, we always invite people but not as open.
Yeah.
You know, as we grew, then we started open out to the national community, you know.
Right.
So that is how we came the road to the national, you know, the National Ocean Festival. We as I say, we celebrate ocean, right? On the first day is we celebrate Orishan ancestor, right? And then first day Orishan ancestor, the second day we used to celebrate the children, right? And the third day we had the 16 lights of ocean, right? That's when we would bring out the sacred lights of ocean. The third day, that is the dress up day. Everybody put on your best garbs and come out, right? It starts at 6 o'clock and it's really supposed to go through the night to the next day.
Right.
So we would have the 16 lights. We have 16 persons would be chosen to bring out the lights, and then we will start the celebration. All the chiefs and, well, we have kings, queens, chiefs, the elders would make the go around the lights first, and then after that we have the other members of the community will do likewise. That is the biggest, I would say the biggest night of the festival. You know, we celebrate, we have eat, drinks, we have a good time, it's a good way, you know, it's a celebration time, celebrating ocean. And that is the first, second, the third day. Then we have, the fourth day, we have a Shongo festival, right? That is a whole day, we have a whole day for Shongo.
Right.
5 a.m. in the morning we have a drum call for Shongo.
Right.
And the rest of the day, well, we celebrate Shongo by himself, you know. And then we have the family day, which is we usually hold it the past couple of years, and we have the day before the Shongo, before the family day. We usually do it on a Friday, where we go to the river Olivia to give offering to the ocean, right?
Right.
Right before day. We usually have a street procession from the hotel on the hill, right? In Salivia. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a procession down to the river to offer the offering, give the offering. And at the river, well, we have singing and drumming, and you know, we have the Aruba, the ocean Aruba would carry the Igba down to the river, and then we would give the offering, we have singing and drumming and whatever. The Igba is then placed there so that persons can come and offer the prayers. Now Ocean is the one who gives children. So like persons have an issue with children, they want to go to Ocean and ask for children. Ocean is the goddess of love, the god of sexuality and sexuality. Ocean is the creator of money. You want whatever you want. You know, you could at that particular day, right? You could always come to Ocean and ask for make a petition for whatever you want, right? On that particular day, you could bring offering for you. You accept offering of money, of nice drinks. You like nice drinks like champagne and nice wines and whatever. Fruits, right? Perfume, nice perfume, these kind of things. So you could bring an offering, right? And you pray and ask for your for blessing, right? Whatever issues you might have, whether it is health issues, whatever issue, that is the day you could come to Oshun and ask favor, right? And then on the family day, which is the fifth day, right? We have whereby we would gather. These days it is kept on the Emancipation Park in Mokoya. Yeah, Mokoya. Always here, Lupino Road. There where we have cultural events. We have certain artists come and we have like a craft market. We have a market whereby people come and sell vegetables and that kind of thing, you know. So it's a family day. It's a nice day. We have food and drinks and whatever. So people, they invite people to come out and experience the blessing of Oshun. Because, you know, a lot of people, the basking, you know, feedback was, you know, things that they asked for, everything was, you know, nice. So they invite people to come out and support.
Right.
This is our tradition, and let us pay attention, you know. Our page is up, Shad.
Yep.
So you can get information on
So
the page.
tell them, call me the page.
This page is,
Ile page.
our page is Ile Ijosin Otura Meji Awon Oshun. Ile Ijosin Otura Meji Awon Oshun. We're on Facebook. You know, we are on.
Yeah.
I must say, right, as a young practicing devotee, I struggle to keep tradition and add technology. Accepting that there are certain things we can't put all that technology to and all that light to.
True.
I love the way all your organization is. First thing is the quality of the pictures. Understand? Our professional photographers come and take pictures and things. Because I've been saying since I come around is we need to document things.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And the next thing I would love to see start happening in that festival is we take Baba for 2 minutes and we want a 2-minute video clip of Baba just telling me something, even if it's a chant or say that or whatever. Simply because we've had too many. Well, I can't remember which one they say to, but there's one else over the organization. Legendary people that bring this information here that help push forward this year that we don't even have proper pictures and things of them. So in 2025, by the calendar that we just follow, you know I come from Chief Olakia Masatu. That's exactly the same
calendar.
Yeah, I agree with that. Our calendar, based on that calendar, we call it 2025. We have phones that taking real good pictures, and we're supposed to have at least pictures of the elders, and we're supposed to be making a good business. Because Black to Black start off with that idea. When I had the idea to do this, initially one of the ideas was to interview Orisha elders.
Okay.
Yes. So that's why I say it's a real honor to have Baba here today. Right, so that we have this here now. The way elders do certain things, King. I like it, and I look forward to it. I try my best to, well, transport might be one of my limitations, but once it are things around, I try to go. I live long enough to see.
You will?
Yes, I will live long enough to see that more of us attending each other's things.
Part of our dream.
And you mentioned Dylan as one to tell Orisha people this, right? Can't come and talk all the Orisha talk to me, and all the African talk to me, and every now white man here when it goes. You can't make no kind of excuse. There's no one of mine, but there's one of you. This is from Omari Ashby Saga Boy Culture. See what it is? That you think that if I'm not wearing mine, or when somebody else one that is local, that is us.
No, but I mean, the professor and the if you're wearing names that don't suit your energy or promoting an ancestor that did not support your
your ancestors. It come as if you kind of stabbing yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
Because you're promoting something that doesn't fit your life path.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So we practice our way of life. So we would dress and carry ourselves in a particular way. I can tell people many times driving on the road, authorities stop me. And by the time they look in my vehicle and they look at me, they're like, hey, you pass.
Well, brother,
Because of what
that
I'm
is a
carrying
real
myself.
experience that I get.
White shirt, grey shirt, traffic
Black, white,
borders.
and yellow, yeah.
When they see me, they don't know at one time this man is a man of business entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I'm telling them everything.
You understand?
So that's what I say. And I make it my business to say, yes, I sell clothes, but also understand that you can't talk all that movement talk, African talk, this talk.
Yeah.
You imagine Baba coming here to sit down there to talk this talk and I should be so right?
You feel that?
Come on now,
You
man.
feel that?
No.
It was another peeve. Anyway, I will say it. It's a peeve to see big men showing the bottom crack all over the place. I just feel like if, I don't know if, but then again,
You understand the programming?
the programming is what have them like that. And brothers listening, and whoever listening, share the message. That is not cool. That putting you in a bracket, that energy keeping you down.
Yeah.
You understand? Even if singers promoting that, they are used as pawns
Yeah.
to promote a particular energy to keep us down.
Yeah.
You don't see other people, other groups, other races doing that, but they want us to have ourselves like that.
Yeah. True.
With benefits and everything.
You understand? And that in itself pushing another agenda that I don't want to mention on other platform here.
Why?
I don't want them
Why?
here.
They have to Let me tell you why they have to flabby, right? But everybody else shows no hesitation, no fear to talk about the things that they are against when it comes to their morality and their spirituality. But because I am against something that is in conflict with my morality and my spirituality, but because only in charge of everything, and this will come right back to ownership. We don't own nothing. And because we don't own nothing, that's why we're afraid to say that, you know.
Well, I will say it. Everything has an agenda behind it. Styles, fashion, it carries our energy and it carries some significance. So, in our community now, where we're seeing that our young men, they have issues with growing into adulthood because many of them not making it past 25 or not crossing 18.
Yeah.
What would happen to our women for childbearing purposes? Who looking for husband? I have a daughter, you have a daughter. All of us here have daughters. What would happen when our men become psychologically castrated? That they can't function as men for our women. It's one thing to be chemically castrated. It's one thing to be physically castrated. But what happens when a man is fully functional, he's healthy, but he's mentally incapacitated to function like a man? Because the energy of you showing off your butt crack, making you function in a way that you are tracking male species. That is the mentality behind that, because that's a prison style, of course, just showing, and in fact before that, but breaking. If we don't understand the history, look back and
to repeat it,
did that come up the line now until right now, even in Hollywood. Even in many of our so-called revered stars, black actors, now look at the way they have them. Yeah.
Look at the way they have them. They castrate them in the public. You understand? They make them put on dresses, make them sagged their pants. You understand? But white entertainers don't look like that.
No.
They don't look like that. They are properly dressed. They
And again,
are properly dressed.
Correct.
goes back to what Baba said earlier, that plenty we do like to acknowledge. We have been programmed. And the program that we're following today is not a program designed for our upliftment. The religion that they gave us, you hear what I say? I like to use them words carefully. When they forced us to stop calling on Ogun and Shango and Obatala and saying that our Most High is Eledumare, Olodumare. Why did they really do that? They tell us, they gave us via force. I tell them plain, I said, no, let today in Christian today because all they sit down, follow that doctrine, read the doctrine and say, yes, this is the thing for me. No, let today. Don't mind, they never see a whip. Is a Christian today because you inspected Christianity of your own free will and you decided this is the thing for me. No. You're a Christian today because your ancestors, who you don't want to acknowledge, who you just call as the past, was murdered,
They pay the price.
raped, brutalized to follow this thing to say, all right, I believe in Jesus.
They pay
Right?
the price.
We is the only people on the planet that in the majority, the God that we just call on don't look like we. It didn't come from no language we just talk. Because we didn't Orisha. When you started talking, you don't know word for Jesus. Because it didn't come from there. Right? We is the only people that following a teaching that he has so much holds in life. Like all of these adults and all of his parents here, right? You imagine your child missing for 3 days. And today, we're talking 2025, where they mount that thing and put it up on social media, all kind of thing. Everybody, all them different shrines and them helping them look for the child and the thing. Bam! We find the child. Alive and well, we give thanks. So now we're starting to talk to you. What is going where was it? Boy, daddy, boy, when nobody poured me away. And a fish swallowed me and I was in the fish belly for 3 days. Same chance. All we looking to do, all we looking to do. But a book tell we that a man living a fish stomach for 3 days and we not mentally, psychologically and spiritually brave enough to question that. Right? Now come to today. Today now you using that same kind of logic where you can live in a fish for 3 days to judge a rich. The thing I was saying earlier with the Baptists is a conversation that needs to be had as well. Because when we ancestors in the infinite wisdom hid some of our deities within Christianity, they had to do that, and I mean that was genius. But in 2025, none of we need to call on Jesus or Mary or nothing. None of we need to go in a church. All them children should be converted to palace. You understand? No, I will always say it is your right to choose that, and you could choose that. But don't come to tell we that we are not associated with that, or that is it, because again, you still fall under that Christian bracket. The slave master he beat you on a Sunday too, you know. Sunday when you're supposed to be free to serve the Lord. He Lord. He beat you, you know. He book in Ephesians tell you be a good slave. Right? So until we can acknowledge all these things, until we can have a national conversation amongst African people on these things here, it will always be you talking against my God. No, I'm not talking against your God, because you know why? Tomorrow morning, when the majority of African people in Trinidad go to church, they're going to talk against me. Because you know what I'm going to say? They're going to talk against all of you, because they're going to say, if you don't believe this, you're going to hell. So I don't have, imagine that, I have a free will. I use my free will to decide I don't want to be a part of that, but now you have your next condition you come with now. Well, it have a consequence. I tell them there's no such thing as free will. Right? But your pastor going and board me out in the morning, but he's free to do that. He going to not 300 people in the church are going and board yes and amen. But when I say what I just say, It's the ruthless one, but you know it's that nice part of the programming.
Yeah.
I tell them, you know that programming do? That programming better than half of the computers thing we have today, you know. That programming self-perpetuating, so it is keep itself rolling so, and it is keep protecting its own self. Because it's using us to protect and to carry on at the same time, because they can't hear we. Some of them will go as far as trying to do we think like physically, right? Because we say what we say here. But I tell them, I post this weekend, I think it went over a lot of people head. No indigenous spiritual system, and I specifically left out the word African, because this goes for the whole world. No indigenous spiritual system ever left where it originated and went somewhere and tried to enslave the people and convert the people to it. So what the people who just call Indians in America, what them was following when the caveman went, them never try to tell the white man, you have to follow this. Right? When they went, what it is called China today, and the Chinese people, they never tell them you have to follow this.
Sure.
But that man leave Europe. Convinced you today, I tell people, I'm convinced you today, there's a place today. That man leave this place called Europe with all these little resources. All the wars they fight amongst themselves. They don't like to talk about that. They make we sound like the warmongers, you know. We never fight no war and kill millions of
You
people.
look at all the gladiator pictures.
Come on, them have people. 30,000, 40,000 people come to watch man cut off man head. But we's the barbarians. But we spirituality. We shall never give no instruction to leave and go. And you see that group of people, they see them 2 million.
Conquer them, kill them.
Conquer them. If they don't want to follow, we shall kill them. But it have many times in history that we could show that Christianity and Islam and things do them things. Look at what we're seeing today with the people in the supposed Holy Land.
No peace. You got no peace there. Ever had peace there? No peace.
They're like, yo.
We call it the Gaza Strip.
I say to you, we just if we just leave people to live and follow the thing, you know half of the whole problem is done?
Yeah. But again, it's a misconstruct of religion that cause a lot of these problems, because we don't want to let people follow their ancestry in its fullness.
Okay, can you sleep? Let me see.
Because you see, you're hungry. Where you come from, you have very little to provide. So you when the person and meet these people,
Yeah.
they can have so much.
And they're not putting the value to it that you put into it. They say, this is something real valuable, you know. And Shaka tell you, take it now. Like what? You see you go on Ghana and see the Ashanti anyway, any kind of gold anyway, nothing. And when you talk about like where's anything and them thing and they come out that thing and they say hello. So you think the people and them should no, we didn't put that type of value that you put it. It had a significance to us, but that was the significance. And this was tell them today, you know why we greedy today? We greedy today because we following them value system.
Capitalism.
Capitalism and democracy. Democracy is
a lie.
You could say so your democracy. I want to tell you a look as had that day and you're moving or whatever. I see you moving, I know you will. The last time I see you is a thief. And until I tell you is a thief now, I shouldn't see that. But if you have democracy and you can say what you want.
Yeah.
You understand? That is up. It's not a truthful thing.
It is not.
Right? Because once you say, all right, everybody, I have it, I can say what I want. Say what you want. When the next person say to you now, because you in a better position, you have a little more money, they want to knock you down because when you say that about, you understand? So we have to look at it and go right back again to our ancestral morals, and we live for thousands of years. You understand me? When you look at all these various kingdoms and whatever, this is things we had to get that information to give to our children. You understand me? To teach you about so water rally, so fast drink and all these people. is Mansa Musa?
Yeah.
The average person asks, who is Mansa Musa? Mansa Musa is the man when he leave Africa to go to make Hajj. Where he leave, going to Hajj. He crashed the economy of everybody.
Every pass.
And his way back, he had us to buy back gold from people. You understand me? That is our history for our children know that. The richest man in the world, he don't know some them fellas and them.
Sure.
You understand me? So this is history that we need to learn and we need to show our children how powerful they was. Show them how these various kingdoms that we had. They talk about the China wall, right? This wall they have in the Benin wall.
Benin not by far.
Yeah. They do all these things they don't know. The African map, they show it, turn it upside down and show it small so. But they show you how much time it could fit all these other countries inside. All these things that I don't need to learn and teach it to our children. To bring the difference. Right? All the billions they're spending, wasting time. Bring down Giuliani from America, bring this one, all kind of people to come. They're part of that crazy whole problem. You're bringing them to solve the problem. And you give them all this money and nothing still ain't going on. You get from bad to worse. What are you going to do? If I let us.
So with that, Baba,
Let us try something else.
as we wrap up here, finish you up with a quickie word.
You will. Ore ye, 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 ore ye. Now, who is Ore? That song is for, let us say, a song that we sing for our great mother, right? In Ungu, she is portrayed as the great mother. She has long hair, right? She was very old, and if you see, she would dance very slow. And when Ye was about to make transition back to the ancestral realm, they asked her, they said, well, Mama, you're about to leave. What would you give to us so that we could, because she was ruler, that we could rule the people.
Yeah.
And she gave them, you see the wigs that the judges tend to wear?
Yeah.
And the gown that the priests would wear. She gave that to us. She said, when you put on this and go to the people, you would be able to rule them and rule them properly. So you have things, we see in things, they take over things. All those wigs and whatever they wear, that is our part of our ancestral tradition. So we need to know and we need to understand. You understand me? So you see somebody wearing, when you put on this gown, that gives you a certain authority. So when you see the judges and they wear that gown,
That's why.
that is wrong. You understand? A lot of people doesn't know, as African people, that is part of our tradition. I only want to speak about the mother. This is the great mother, and this is what she lived for us in order to, you understand me?
Sure.
So I pray that these few words that was said here this evening, I pray that we as adults would seek information so that we could pass to our children.
For sure.
Because there are no, I just want to say there are no bad children, there are bad adults. What we know is what we're going to teach them. If we know the things that is not correct, we're going to teach that. So when we see our children going wrong, as adults we have to stand up and say, what did I do that I was not supposed to do while this child or children behaving like that? Or what did I do that I wasn't supposed to do? So we have to, as adults, let us ask ourselves, don't be quick to put down our children. Let us examine ourselves and start from here to bring the result that we want to see. It is we, the adults. I'm not able to say. Parents have to know there are rules for children and there are rules for adults. Good Christian principle teach us to suffer the children to come unto me. So your child telling you what to do. Parent is waking in the morning. What you want to eat today? You know you have some flour, you could make a bake or you buy a bread and you have some piece of cheese or something there. That is what you have to give to the child. But you ask the child what you want and then the child tell you because he's watching the TV and all the other things. He want pancake or some other thing. And then you start, where do you expect me to get that from?
Yeah. But you ask the question.
Parents have to know the rule. Instruction is from up down. Right now we have it from down up. Children telling parents what they want. I ain't wearing that. I don't want that.
Really?
You understand? They're telling you what they do. You understand?
Our KFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want the television and that telling them, and we the parents accepting that now. Yeah? No. When we grow, I didn't know it like that. Parents give you food that is good for you, what they know is good for you, and as different people. Right? I mean, we do what you say for our children. You get guidance. Don't let this child wear black. Don't let this child eat this. Don't let this child go out in the night. We have guidance to guide our children. So if we're serious about fixing the problems that we are faced with, he finds the way. You understand me? Because you have a thing, a christening, and people come and they think Godmother, Godfather, they eat and they drink when they touch the bath. You will nobody to help to give you guidance with that child with no help or whatever.
Yeah.
You understand me? We need, and it's just a big celebration. To me, I have how many children? I never christened none because when I think the first one I was prompted and I went and then they tell me I had to come and I had to do this and that. I said, take my child, I'll put up to the sky and I say, God, this child give me the strength. Let me be able to provide food, provide shelter and whatever. Understand me? All my children, they born and live in one place and I take care of them. Oh, they go turn dwell all kinds of all of them growing and they're good. And they in the walking in the line of people. Things going. Parents is to give children guidance. Right? So parents, we say to again, let us take care of our children. Come to Eva, ask questions. Children misbehaving, come and ask why it is. They got so much we're going to talk about. From Udu to dance and so much.
I just want to say, may Olodumare give you all the continued strength to keep up this work. As I had told Oli on the phone, sometimes it feels as if it's a thankless job, but you're all doing so much that this is being recorded as your legacy. You understand? And I have all kind of legacy out here, but this is a positive one.
Yeah.
And for the length of time you all have been out here jamming, I know it's not for monetary gain. It's for the passion of really hoping to see things get better for our people. But I remember when you made your first live.
Yeah.
And then go link up with my brethren here. And as I will say, let's take something for something to happen. You made your first live in the George Floyd situation.
Sensitive on it.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, and then morphed into what it is now and will only get better.
Actually.
You understand? And it shows too that you're not in it for what we would say the likes and the no. Because when you're talking real and you're talking truth, most people just like it.
For sure.
If you're talking scandal and you're talking bacchanal and ish say and she say,
Thousand
yeah, your life light up.
Yeah.
But this is your legacy. And I command to the universe that you all have era of longevity, grace, and prosperity. What I want for myself, I want for God. That's all I would end that say.
Well, I want to finish off by saying that I'm going to tell the girl I can't go so long, no love.
That's just like when you're having fun.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
I just want to finish off by saying what I usually say with one of them is love and support is action words. We see those people that try to talk love, try to talk support. I like what you're doing. Yeah, right? And you say something that I appreciate that we're really doing this looking for money. At least we definitely start off with this looking for money. And October this year will be 5 years. And we started, we still have that idea of making money off with people like that. Right? It's easy as it is. But I appreciate that all they came, all they spend the time that all they spend. So me and Karen, we gotta break down this episode.
Yeah.
During the week here, I think that talk here will be conversation in the shop here. Right? So we just very glad for that. We didn't get a response to some of the comments and them. Right? But that's how it is go sometimes. Right? So more life in good health. Something I learned from my father and the money is he don't wish nobody a long life without good health. So it's something that I really
good health first and long life.
And prosperity.
Long life and good health. We'll get everything else. We'll get everything else, but once we get out of long life with good health.
In fact, the highest era, what you will say, lesson you could get from old Harry is life. Because with life, possibilities is endless.
Right. So we give thanks, brother. We look forward to seeing all you and when you shoot festival, you know we go
touched on the ground or whatever.
Yeah, man.
So all you be safe out there. Watch the roads, we have plenty rains these days. I hear driving all there. Long life into it.
Sure.